goes out to the world to warn the people. We know that he that hath an ear, let him hear. Am I supposed to discount this man because I know he's not in the truth?
No. No.
I'm taking heed to the warning myself because I haven't found anything wrong. I haven't found anything that he was saying that for me not to stop myself and say, hold on. And how can you use this to improve yourself?
That's right.
Because all we teach is trying to stay out the lake.
Right.
All right? So let's keep reading.
Verse 23. Am I a God at hand, saith Yahweh, and not a God afar off?
He answered him immediately. He said, I went outside and I prayed and I supplicated. And the Lord came to him. With that understanding that he has. You understand? It's different for us, but is it? This is my point. This man asked the Lord, and the Lord said, nigga, I got you. And he said, I didn't know he was going to show up like that. See what I'm saying? Right. He didn't know that, but he knew that he saw something that had him to say, I need to move further. I need to do something more. And what did he do? He called out to the Lord. Lord, use me. Use me. But he had no idea he was going to get tossed like that. Keep reading.
Verse 24. Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him, saith the Most High? Do not I fill heaven and earth, saith the Master?
So when he said that, all of my thoughts and imaginations was right there before me that they couldn't be hid from him. He said, how can you stand before him and he know everything? There's no little piece in here that you can tuck away something that he can't find. I'm going to hide this sin from the Lord. He'll never know I did that. Oh, no. He stood right there and said, I'm fake. He knew everything.
He said, yourself standing there telling on him.
Exactly. And then you could, he's like, I couldn't deny that part. I'm getting to that part, what he's talking about, but it was, he said, I couldn't, there's nothing that was hid from him that I could stand there and deny himself. Keep reading.
Verse 25. I have heard what the prophet said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yeah, they are prophets of the deceit of their own heart, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor. As their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal.
So did he fess it up who he was talking about in the very end and say, believe on Jesus Christ? So still, he fessed it up. He fessed it right up. Keep reading.
Verse 28. The prophet that hath a dream, let him tell a dream. And he that hath my word, let him speak my word faithfully.
There it is.
What is the chaff to the wheat, saith the Most High? Is not my word like as a fire, saith Yahweh, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces? Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, saith the Most High, that steal my words, every one from his neighbor. Behold, I am against the prophets, saith the Master, that use their tongues and say, he saith. Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams, saith Yahweh, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lie, and by their likeness. Yet I sent them not, nor commanded them. Therefore, they shall not profit this people at all, saith Yahweh. Oh my goodness, that's powerful. Verse 33. And when this people or the prophet or a priest shall ask thee, saying, what is the burden of the Most High? Thou shalt then say unto them, what burden?
That's right. What burden?
I will even forsake you, saith Yahweh. And as for the prophet and the priest and the people that shall say, the burden of the Lord, I will even punish that man and his house. Thus shall ye say, every one to his neighbor and every one to his brother, what hath the Most High answered? And what hath the Most High spoken? And the burden of Yahweh shall ye mention no more, for every man's word shall be his burden. For ye have perverted the words of the living Elohim, of the Most High of hosts, our Father. Thus shalt thou say to the prophet, what hath the Most High answered thee? And what hath the Master spoken? But since ye say, the burden of Yahweh, therefore thus saith Yahweh, because ye say this word, the burden of the Master, and I have sent unto you, saying, ye shall not say, the burden of the Master. Therefore, behold, I, even I, will utterly forget you, and I will forsake you, and the city that I gave you and your father, and cast you out of my presence. And I will bring an everlasting reproach upon you, and a perpetual shame which shall not be forgotten.
All right.
That's powerful, boy. I don't want none of that. And what they say, miss me with that now.
All right, now we're gonna move right into Joel. No. What is the burden of the Lord? Meaning, like his problems. The Lord don't have any burdens. You know, we've been a burden to him, but he don't have no. What did he say to you? He just said, "I cast you out of my presence." I get tired of y'all. We ended up over here because he warned us. If we didn't listen to him and ended up over him, was he burdened by us being disobedient? Because I told y'all what to do, and y'all still doing it. So what burden can we? They say we cast our burdens on him, but the fact is, what is he worried about? Light bill? You know what I'm saying? What is the burden of the Lord? The Lord ain't got no burdens. This is what they call foolish speaking. And he keep telling them, I told you I ain't got no burden. How long did we read burden? Burden before they got it? He ain't got no burdens. But you walking around talking about the Lord burden. All right. Did I answer your question?
The Lord says, cast your burden upon me for my life.
That's what I was trying to say, brother. Right on for that second witness. Right on, my brother. So we're going right now to Joel chapter 2, verse 27 and 29. And the second witness is Acts chapter 2, verse 17.
That's language.
Yeah. Everybody ready?
All right, we're in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed.
Okay, now then we saw that he was ashamed that he couldn't even look at the Lord. When the one thing that he really got me was when he said, how hot was this going to be for me? And I'm feeling it out here. That's when he got so discouraged. It's like he just melted to say, I turned my head from the Lord. I couldn't face him. And there he was at a point that there was absolutely nothing else, period, that you can do except waiting to hear, depart from me. There was no, see, we can't, I'm gonna speak for myself right here, like Paul said. Just something that I thought about, that when we think about our own passing, there's no hand that's gonna come back in here and keep doing stuff that we need to do, didn't finish up. You understand what I'm saying? If you, any reason, there is nothing else. You have to understand that when we yield up that ghost, there is nothing else that connects us to this life right now. Nothing connects us to it. So there's nothing that we could come back to and get second chance. There's nothing that once we're gone, we're gone. That's why it's so important. What he's saying is that you got to get it right now. You got to get it right now. He said, hell ain't worth it. Okay, let's keep reading.
Verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterwards that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and daughters and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. Verse 29. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaid, in those days will I pour out my spirit.
Okay, did you finish that? I lost my spot. Yeah, I know just for 2 verses. See, so there it was that we had to get into this to see what the script said. He had a vision. Okay, he had a vision that showed what he asked for. Lord, show me a vision. And the Lord showed it to him. This is the latter days. We're living in the latter days. And just because this did not come out of what we know as who we are, like I say, do we still take heed to this? Or do we want the Lord to show us that ourselves? Huh? Anybody want to go and pray that? And say, Lord, show me that too? Do you want to see that? The day of the Lord? Okay, so he did it. And it's for us to take heed to. No matter what, it's just to take heed to. Read on. Where we at?
Acts 2 and 17.
You want Acts 2 and 17?
Acts 2 and 17.
We'll jump to Matthew. It's Acts 2 is the second witness to the Joel. So we're going to Matthew chapter 24, verse 36. The Psalm 6 and 9, I have twice Psalms in here. That was the opening prayer. So what we already seen in the prayer continues on through here. So Matthew 24 and 36 and Psalms 6 and 9.
Okay.
What's that, Elisha?
Read the 24
Matthew?
way up.
Okay. Take that to the end, to 51.
In the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not the Son of Man cometh. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. But, and if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he does not work.
So that's what it means to get it right now. To get it right now. If the master comes and found you doing something bad or wrong, or that you wasn't supposed to be doing, like your parents catching you, you caught. And you caught in the act of doing something wrong. Being caught means you didn't get to repent right then. You got caught doing it. So the person that catches you, you could turn and repent to them and say, you sorry, I caught, whatever. But this is being an act of being caught. So what we just read, the opposite is, how happy would he be when he came back and found you doing what? Doing what's right. But we don't know when he coming back. So we supposed to stay in a state of doing what's right. And we know that, yeah, in season and out of season. Go ahead. Exactly. It's a daily struggle.
Grace is like grace is a laser, not a blanket.
Right. Y'all hear that?
A lot of people think grace covers you for everything you do in life. It's like insurance policy. So it's incidental. But when you can't keep the law, or when you slip up, but you should be keeping consistently. So it really don't matter when it goes down, the sin side back. You gonna be consistently doing it. That's your nature.
Exactly.
We should strive to be consistent in covering like he is. Consistent in covering. Don't return away from covering. You gotta be consistent just like he is.
Right. Y'all hear what he said? That grace was like a laser and not a blanket. That blanket will cover it all, but this grace that we got is like it's pinpoint right on that. Whew, that was powerful. Where we at?
Verse 51, last verse.
Okay.
And shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Okay, so right on, Elisha, for reading this out, because we saw here that he was able to talk. And the people in this line, they were able to just say something, but we know, see, this is where I'm saying of the clue of knowing the truth and going by it as it is written as opposed to your understanding. Okay, but in this vision, he was still, I didn't have anything to say about him, even though I knew this, I didn't have anything to say to him about his talking back to the Messiah because this was his vision. Okay, this was his vision. And I can't question his vision being out of order, even though I know it's not according to the scripture as it is written. But this was this man's vision. Okay, that's why I couldn't, although, like I said, I knew what he meant by it, but I know what his words say. Okay, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't have an answer to this. It's all of how you perceive it, how you receive it, or if it's just the message that takes you one step closer in saying, I want to get to him and not to the lake. Okay, so we're going to now Psalm 6 and 9.
Psalm 6 and 9?
Yep.
Psalm chapter 6, verse 9.
What's on me? Psalms chapter 6, verse 9. For there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is very wickedness. Their throat.
Psalm 6, verse 9.
Oh, my bad. I was in 5. They on the same page, just wrong column. My bad. Psalms chapter 6, verse 9. The Lord hath heard my supplication. The Elohim will receive my prayer.
So that's what we see. We saw it right there, the evidence of it. He prayed, and the Lord answered. So he when he said out, see, the thing what got me was that he went outside. It's just him and his rib in his apartment. But this was so important to him, like we read recently, when a man has a problem, he'll go somewhere off to his own, leave his wife and go, he might go out in the backyard. This is exactly what happened. When this got down on him, he went out the house. Left her in there, he saw him pacing and with his hands folded. That was his prayer and supplication. It meant that much to him. Because he's seeking. Okay, now we're going, I got 1 Kings 8 and 28, which will back up Psalm 6 again, what our opening prayer was. We're not going to be much longer because these are going to be short, couple of 1, 2, 3 hitter quitters. Kings 8 and 28. I guess if I put my glasses on, I can see. Where was you wanted to break it up?
Sirach 34, just so we understand, because we in the last days, it says, like you read that Joel, the young men and the young daughters dream, see visions, but everything we do has to be according to the law. So you have to know the law in your sleep. You can't see it in your sleep. You can't see yourself falling out of somebody's window in your sleep. You have to apologize for that immediately or repent and turn back from that, because that's the devil trying to get you to practice sin in your subconscious. That way when you wake up, you'll practice the same thing. So that's the first place he attacks, is when you sleep. So the Most High puts instructions, but everything that he does, he don't leave it happenstance, so you have to guess what he's talking about. So the rules for dreaming are Deuteronomy 18, Deuteronomy 13, but it's detailed in Sirach 34. So go ahead, Brent.
After we read one scripture, this 1 Kings chapter 8, we're going to, and when he get it pulled up, we're going to stop and go to this. This chapter is only 1 through 8.
Yeah.
We'll go to that as a second witness for what he's talking about.
1 Kings chapter 8, verse 28. Yet have thou respect unto the prayer of thy servant and to his supplication, O Elohim, my power, to hearken unto thy cry and to the prayer which thy servant prayeth before thee today.
See? So again, he went to the Lord. The Lord just didn't tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, little nigga, I got something for you. You know, he could do that with anybody. But this man said, I need to get to him. So we just read there again his prayer and supplication. So while he's pulling that up, we'll go right into 2 Corinthians chapter 12, 1 through 7. Since he's reading right now, one of y'all.
No, what y'all read? I'm pulling this.
That's what I said. One of y'all take your phone.
I did my two. It's 2 and through around here.
Here's my two.
You said 2 Corinthians chapter 12?
Yeah.
Well, y'all crazy.
All right, 2 Corinthians chapter 12, starting at verse 1. It is not expedient for me.
Wait, okay, I'm in First Corinthians. Go ahead.
First-
Go, no, go ahead.
You were right.
It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I knew a man in Christ above 14 years ago, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. God knows.
Okay, so what we saw and what he said happened to him, this is not nothing new.
Right.
That if it really happened to him, we don't know, but we got evidence of it happening to someone. It happened to Paul.
That's right.
He said, whether I was in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. That's written. That's written, and we read this before we saw this video, so we automatically knew. He said, hey, I went out of my body in this. We know that that's possible. You believe? Read on.
Such an one caught up to the third heaven. Verse 3. And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. Yahweh knoweth. How that he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words, which it is not lawful for a man to utter.
Mm-hmm.
Of such a one will I glory. Yet of myself I will not glory,
Mm-hmm.
but in mine infirmity.
Mm-hmm. So did he say anything other than, I simply asked the Lord for this, and he gave it to me, and now I'm telling y'all. He ain't seen, I done searched a few websites in there for him briefly to see if he was still active. This video was, he said this vision happened in October 2nd, 2014. The brothers that I talked to said they saw it a year ago, but I just got it last week. So I can't find when this was posted. But the point is, he's still saying stuff, and ain't trying to start a church is what I'm trying to say. I was searching for. He ain't trying to glory in this. He just got the message out. Because I was looking to see, is this, or, to find out what's going on with him. So let's read on.
Verse 6. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool. For I will say the truth.
That's right.
But now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he seeth me to be, or that he heareth of me.
That's humility, y'all.
Yep.
That's humility. That's like when Joseph found out that Mary was pregnant, he did what? He first examined himself.
Right.
Did I do anything wrong? Okay, so this what we just read, that's pure humility. And I ain't heard nothing other than it sounded like Chris Tucker. That finally dawned on me. That's what that voice is when he was laughing and boom and shoot. That's where that Chris Tucker. That's what, so but what I'm saying, he didn't show any type of putting himself anywhere. He stayed humble. When he said, I was so afraid, he said, I spent half the day under the living room table. He says, I'm afraid to move because I did not want to add anything else to me that I'd already just seen. That's how terrified he was. I don't want to move. You pick this cup up, it could be a sin that he didn't want added. No, not what I just went through. No, is it okay? Do I need to pray before I pick this cup up? You know what I'm saying? So to see that his spirit, I felt his pain. I felt everything that he was saying. He said, I just had to turn my head from him. I couldn't take no more. He said, I ain't heard one good thing yet. So just to think of where he was in that line and what he had seen that went before him, knowing what's behind him. But the fact of it was is that I'm facing this right now. Well, I felt like I was with him when he woke up. To say, whew, whew. Could you imagine that? And then you had nightmares before. And then when you woke up, realized it was just a dream where I just left. Somewhere over in Afghanistan, somewhere where I just left. Let's read on.
Verse 7. Unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelation, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure.
Yes, I see. So right there, where Paul said himself that the Most High, I will put this thorn in your side as a reminder for you. Now think about that. That's how the spiritual, I'll say, level of Paul that could have easily persuaded him to turn to the left. But the Most High was like, nah, every time that thought comes to your mind, I'm just going to gently remind your ass of this. Go ahead, bro.
Gently remind you.
Huh? Right. See, so that's the whole thing. I didn't see any of what we just read coming out of this message. This was a shofar blowing to me, that warning. Okay? So we finished that. Let's go to, oh yeah, you got that? We're gonna, huh?
Yeah, I said, you understand what else he said? We were talking about that, remind me, put a buffet in the side.
The thorn, yeah.
Bullet in my head.
Oh, that,
Yeah, he just,
It's a constant reminder.
well, don't start me crying.
yeah, don't you start now.
No, we don't need no waterworks today.
What brother was saying about the scripture where Paul said that the Most High gave me a buffet in my side, allowed Satan to buffet me so I wouldn't get up high.
Right.
Or high-minded by seeing that vision on the third level of heaven. LC asked a question, bro, sitting right there. He said, remind, like that bullet in my head, that reminds me of when I was clowning out on my mother. So it's like that.
No shape, form, or fashion is any of this to play with. Where we at Matthew 16? No, Ecclesiastes 33 in the Apocrypha 1 through 8. 34, 1 through 8.
Say 34.
34.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, 1 through 8, 34, 1 through 8.
All right, everybody there?
34th, Sirach, 34th chapter, Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha.
Like everybody else. All right, the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 34, verse 1. The hopes of a man void of understanding are vain and false, and dreams lift up fools. Whoso regardeth dreams is like him that catcheth at a shadow and followeth after the wind. The vision of dreams is the resemblance of one thing to another, even as the likeness of a face to a face.
Whoo, stop right there. The one thing, if y'all caught it, when he talked about standing in that line, he said, I was standing there in that line with my life, holding hand in hand. So he had his companion of who he was in this life with him holding his hand. And he said, and the Lord said, you couldn't lie. He said, because my life was right there to testify against me. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You know, so to just when you stop and thinking about it like that, it was like now they're separate. Even though they're holding hands, They're two separate individuals now.
Yes, sir.
The life that's testifying against you, that's the one you can't go back and put your hand over his mouth in this world and say, nigga, shut up. You know what I'm saying? It's the fact that he was standing there right then and there with him, and his life was no longer attached to him. Only that. Now all my only purpose is to tell him your ass. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm here for now. We through. We no longer one flesh now. We through. And the life that testified him could easily say, I'm not the one that's going to the lake of fire. You are. What you have, bro? Both y'all are in line. I'm sorry. Second Corinthians chapter 7. Yeah, go ahead and read it. Just read loud for everybody to be able to hear you.
That was given to me, according to flesh.
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent second witness, brother. Excellent. Thank you.
Pickins
What?
asking.
Oh. No, it was just no, because if he would have had a thorn in it, being put a thorn in his side by his vision, he would already been on a path to doing something already. That he would have had, like, with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that he had already would have had, that had increased. To say now, no, you I'm gonna keep you in check like this with this one. This was something that he had got for, like I say, by us. I don't want to say assuming, but still him not being in the truth. There's the difference of where his perspective of this is coming. That's why I relate him to John the Revelator in Revelations, of the simple fact that John was given understanding. This was this man's understanding, we'll say, as a base man, stripped of not having the truth of it all, just only knowledge of the scriptures that anybody can read. We can read Jack and Jill went up the hill. We all understand they went up the hill. But when it comes to this word, like Daniel always said, this ain't no book like Tip and Mitt that you can just read through and put it up on the shelf. And it was just a good story. See, so that's, like I said, that's one of the things that in the end of the class, I wanted to say, all I want to do is pray for the brother and his real, that they would, if it's the Most High will, find the truth. So we see the understanding. We see, like I said, all I did was pick out the scriptures that he mentioned. He never said not one time chapter or verse on anything, did he? That's my point. He ain't called chapter and verse on Nathan. But what he said out of his mouth is written. And all I'm doing is grabbing what he's talking about and we going through it. Great.
I think when you say like thorn in your side, you don't get to my high minded. I think of past sins that I've done. And sometimes when I'm going explaining to people, I remember what I did. I was trying to remember you just what you did. And he's constantly bringing it back. You look person. You felt the same way when you came out of Christianity. You had the same thoughts in mind too.
Exactly.
Remember that. So when you go out talking to people, you remember, hey, I got this on my mind.
Exactly.
But I need to be critical. I constantly have to, make sure I'm not getting too mad.
Right.
Because I remember I did this. You got this in the jacket. You improved.
Right.
Show this patience and forgiveness for them.
Exactly.
I forgave you for this.
Exactly.
You constantly bring it back to my mind so you don't forget. You had that other jacket. I forgave you. You did this. I forgave you. So then you took the same, like you said in the video, so the same forgiveness, the same patience with other people. You never get too happy. Forgive and be patient with people.
Y'all, let me add something to what he said real quick. You run your question. That the fact that God understood the one key thing that he said was that I was once there and I came out. And now the patience and mercy that he's showing to those who don't have, as being in the opposite way of just because he no longer eats swine now, going back and blasting the people of a sin that he once committed unknowingly. And now I'm just going to be this you eat swine slayer. You know, that's the whole thing. You know, so the understanding that he said, I came out of that mindset too. And that's the mercy that we have to have on those because they don't have. They don't have. Go ahead, bro. I miss you.
I was just mad that, like, me and my wife been on well. I've been on the truth since I was 20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I lived along with the Bible type of people who learn like me. And we really honestly thought we could do
Right.
something.
Right.
We really did.
Right.
But it wasn't until 2 years ago I started living. And it was through somebody that totally broke me completely off. Because the person's ignorance why I understand.
Okay. See?
And that was, I mean, if I look back in my, and when I was in my 20s, how many years ago, I was 51
Right.
now. And just 2 years ago, I started living by this life.
Right.
I was scared to
Right.
die.
That's that time and chance that happens to every man. And that's the simple fact. We know the filth of the condition of our spirit and our soul that we lived in before we came into this.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, we know that how we wobbled in the mire.
Why you want to bring that up?
Okay, but we're no longer there. Okay, but that's still why, even though we do understand, that's why we still have to do what? A day of atonement once a year to keep these sins up off of us, to wipe our slate clean. That's right. So that's what we know. Just the fact that because Christ died and rose 3 days later, the Day of Atonement was not cast away. It's still there in place because you're still a sinner.
That's right.
Bottom line, that's a feast of day to yourself that you still have to keep because you are still a sinner. But we hear, oh no, I'm saved. Did he say that once? No. He said he saw the vision that he made it the least in the kingdom, but he closed the book up. We're going to get to that. Let's keep reading.
Verse 4. Of an unclean thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thomas, I forgot about you, bro. Turn around. The whole class is for you.
You're sitting up here looking at the back of your head.
Two things. We commanded not to get puffed up and arrogant because it always applies to us, the words that we speak out of our mouth first. The second thing is it brings me to mind the scenario where Christ, dude, begged for his life. Christ spared him. He went right down the street and saw a dude that owed him some money and grabbed him up. And everything. And like, how soon do you forget?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
when I shot this video out to the brothers, I shot that video out specifically as, regardless of what you think of it,
Right.
boy, this is a stop right now and get it right.
Mm-hmm. And then see
Regardless of what you think of it,
what he said.
dissect it. Stop right now, get it right.
What he said that had me hitting the brakes.
That's why I sent it out.
And
Not being held accountable for the blonde woman. That, you know, I'm not judging you for what you put on Facebook, but how the 340,000 people received it.
yes, and led them astray. That led them. So that's why we don't. When we come into the truth, when we study, and we realize all these foolish sayings that we were raised with that are not written. God love everybody. Script not found.
They say.
Script not found. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So no, not really. So that's the point. All the things that we have heard all of our lives and taking them as word is born, taking them as the written word of God. And they're nowhere found in here. That's how lost we are.
The law is done away with.
Yeah, that's how lost we are. Because the reason why you can't talk to some people, the very reason why you can't talk to some people about God is because they say, shit, I got that already done. I'm in the kingdom. There ain't nothing you can tell me. There ain't nothing that you can tell me about my God. So they ain't had an ear to listen.
Next person do that, go in their pockets. Don't even say that, just reach in there and pull everything out.
Right, what are you doing?
5, 6, and 7.
Hmm?
Can you finish 5, 6, and 7 at the
Yeah, we going down there. Hey, some of it.
I'm glad y'all got me, 'cause I don't know where we at. Still in Ecclesiastes? All right.
All right, verse 4. It says, of an unclean thing, what can be cleansed? And from that thing which is false, what truth can come? Divination and soothsaying and dreams are vain, and the heart fancieth as a woman's heart in travail. If they be not sent from the Most High in thy visitation, set not thy heart upon them. For dreams have deceived many, and they have failed that put their trust in them. The law shall be found perfect without lies, and wisdom is perfection to a faithful mouth.
Yep.
So, a lot of times, y'all, that's why I say dreams lift up fools, because everybody's looking for an interpretation. But everybody who dreamed in the Bible prayed for the interpretation. Every time John the Revelator had a vision, he said, tell me what the vision means. See, you have to ask for edification. If you don't want edification, then you don't want to know what the end may be. You know, you may be scared I'm going to die, or, you know, somebody in my family getting ready to die. So just because you don't want to hear the subject matter of it or the end thereof, don't mean it still hasn't happened. So, but it said that verse 8, the law should stand firm, because you cannot sin in your dream. You cannot have your way with Beyonce in your dream. That's JP wife.
It'd be a nightmare for me.
You cannot be wrapped up in what's an easy boy chairs with Denzel with an arm wrapped around it. Denzel married.
Who loves you?
Right, and then when you wake up in the morning, you got every Exterminator movie, Soldier Story, all the movies did. So because Satan needs to get you comfortable of sinning when there's nobody watching.
Right.
Then you'll try to practice that when you wake up. Keep looking around to see if anybody's watching.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be wary of dreams, because they say he's gonna make nothing, send you a dream that's not gonna have purpose, or he's not gonna break the law. Like that's why Peter in his dream thought the Lord said, not so, my Lord, nothing I have eaten. So he thought he was telling him to eat swine and everything like clean. And it said he kept pondering the vision. And by his understanding of not wanting to believe that the Lord is saying it's okay to eat whatever you want, then the answer to his pondering came. You know, and they told him, these men are here to see you. You know, so you can't call these men unclean anymore. But that's mine still unclean.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to Matthew chapter 16, 12 through 19. We were done with the 16. We're going to skip over to 18. Same Matthew.
It ain't the other Matthew. It was on.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's on you.
All right. Okay, where we at now, Matthew 16?
Now we gotta wait on you to get there.
I'm gonna put that Matthew 5, 27, 28. While sitting lusted in your heart, which was sitting in your conscious state before that.
Matthew 5, 27 to 28, you said?
Yeah.
Somebody read that real quick for us. While we're on the subject of Matthew, the tax collector, we know it's we just got through rendering unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So next year, you all, we have a tax preparer. Stand up, brother, that next year, Brother Yehuda Lloyd back there, next year, when it comes time to render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's, that's our camp tax preparer right there.
The free.
No.
So like I say, y'all, if we can keep that in mind, that next year, if you don't have one, we have one of our own. I didn't know. I did not know. So where we at? 16:12?
No, I thought you wanted 15 something.
Matthew chapter
I'll
5.
read his witness. Yes, go ahead.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 27. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart.
Yeah, when he mentioned that, he briefly mentioned it, so I was going to say that when he was talking about adultery and fornication, I was going to 1 Corinthians 6 with that one. But the fact of it is, he specifically named some sins that are prevalent and running rapid in this world and amongst our people as well. But the fact of these were the key sins. Two of them that he just rattled right off. And we know what both of those are. What you got?
No, I'm just saying about that one there. I look at girls with women dressed today.
So a woman that looks like that, a woman that looks like that. Right, that's what I'm saying. So
Ain't nothing to imagination, nothing to imagination.
Exactly, Joseph. Yeah, and that's the thing. The whole thing is, it boils down to you, brother. If you see a pretty brown round, and if it make you go that way, go the other way. But you have to have it in your process right up front. That I know what that means. The difference is you can look, but once you go past that in your imagination, that's on you.
Right? Yeah. It's like the covenant that
That's
Job
on
made
you.
with his eyes. He said, I make a covenant with my eyes, and I did
Right.
what I think upon the maid.
It's called the whole armor of God. Okay, the whole armor, no chink. We got you. Y'all want to do it now? Y'all want to do it now? I see. We have much to talk about when we start walking together. We have much to talk about. All right, did y'all get that out? This witness.
Yeah.
Okay, so back over to
Going over to the book of Matthew,
16.
chapter 16. We're going to start our reading at verse 12. And it reads, Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. When Yeshua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elias, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He saith unto them, But whom say ye that I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Hamashiach, the Son of the living Elohim. And Yeshua answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven, not Joseph. And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven.
Okay, so right there, what I wanted to show with that particular scripture is the fact that when he asked Peter, who do men say that I am? And then he said, who do you say that I am? Between the Messiah's word am and that question mark, and Peter answering him, the Messiah told him, my Father hath made this known to you. I pulled the wrong script of the other witness that goes to this because it clearly shows it that right then, the Most High, right in between that, let Peter know in that instant that this is the real deal and there's no more doubt, period. It was his Father that made that known to him as we just read that. So to show that this man, it was a vision that was made known to him, that he communicated with him just like he let Peter know, this is my son. He said, go warn my people of this. Because he showed them. The whole key to it, this whole video, he said, y'all need to get this right now. Right now. There's no more time. You got to get it right like there ain't no tomorrow. Okay? You have to be prepared when you lay down tonight to have it right. You understand that? Every night you lay down, from now on, you should lay down with, do I got it right? Before I go off into this sleep world that I may not wake up from, do I have it right?
The cousin of death.
Do I have it right? Let's read on. Going to the book of Matthew in the 18th chapter. We're going to read verses 18 through 20.
We only have a few more and we are done.
All right, then.
Few.
He didn't put no time on it.
Yeah. The book of Matthew, chapter 18 and verse 18. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. And whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Again, I say unto you, that if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father, which is in heaven. For where two or three are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them.
Okay, so the 2 points out of this scripture was the first one. We saw that we know what those seeds were. It's what he bound on earth. He bound that on earth. You can't take what you have bound on earth to the next realm. Because it's what you bound that was left over that got you going where you were going. Okay? So that's what the Day of Atonement is for. It's why we give massive texts go out on that day. Brother or sister, if I have wronged you in this last year, I want to get all of this off of me. All these seed sins, I want off of me. Okay? You stand there with pork beans on your chest of bad hair, but not seeds that you done held. That you, not my chest, here. So the point is that you cannot let anything go. You know, if now that you know it, you have to go to him and say, Father, I got to get whatever, because these people that you might remember that you did something to may have moved away or something. I'm not saying they're dead and gone, but you might not be able to do like Paul had to do and go back and retrace his steps to everyone that he wronged and killed on his journey, right? So you have to ask the Lord for them people that you can't go back and get.
That's right.
Ask him to cover them for that. And if they still alive, Lord, let them know, because you know it can't. Let them know that I forgive them. Because I wronged them or whatever, however the order is. We talking about clean slates, y'all. Clean slates. Every day. Every day. Clean slates. Let's read on.
That was it.
That was?
18 through 20.
Okay, so now let's go back to Matthew 7, 20 and 23.
And that's very important, Rob, what you said about going back, because a lot of times, y'all, on the Day of Atonement, we can't use that as a crutch just to get rid of going and clean a problem up that you may have had somebody, because it's the Day of Atonement. You know, you just say, if I'm wrong, you forgive me. It's not that simple, because there's rules for forgiveness. You know, so you just can't throw it out there happenstance. It's like bro saying, you have to tell the Most High about the people you can't get to. But the people you can, you should be able to get to them. And understand that you shouldn't have 50 people on your list you got to get to. That's a problem within itself. Because there's the evening prayer right before sundown that you're supposed to get in to clear that before you go into a new day, which is sundown. So that's why it's always the evening prayer. At twilight, when the street lights come on, that's warning you. You're gonna go into another day. Who you got beef with? Who you got beef with? You need to get that out. Because once the sun hit, you into another day, and you drag that over. So we want to be careful, y'all, that we don't just get out of it that quick. You know, you should practice every day. That's why the script says, don't worry about being a friend. Just don't become an enemy. See, because if you're an enemy, then that's a problem with somebody else. If you don't have no friends, that ain't no problem. It maybe you may be called a recluse or something. But you don't have enemies. So instead of a friend, be not an enemy. That's what you don't want, because you're gonna always be looking around wherever you go. As soon as you hear something say pop, you looking, thinking, is that who I got problems with? Yeah, that's all I'm saying, right?
What you got, sir?
So when you say forgive that person directly, if I have some ouch, what I gotta say to you, or can I do it in my own thoughts?
Well, what we know about forgiveness is the two things that if he asks, you can't go and say, I forgive you for wronging me, and they never asked you. This is what you know that you've done, and you want to give back to that person because you understand now. And hey, you know, we could have been buttholes back in the day and stuff like that to say, hey, I know I was tripping back then, you know, and back at that time I was just out of there, but I know I had done something to you, and I just want to come and acknowledge that I did something to you.
That's right.
And ask you to forgive me.
There's a way
for them to forgive. That's on them if they do or not.
That's right.
But you went to them and asked, so you are making.
Right. So maybe I didn't say that right. Do I need to go to that?
Well, here, this word is, this is in the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 15. It says, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee,
That's right.
go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. And if he shall not hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. So, I mean, you know, if you can't win them back, then, you know, you got to cut them loose.
That's right.
You know, but you go to them,
It's all about cleaning
person
yourself.
first.
It's all about cleaning your slate. And see, just like he said, the Lord told him the woman name verbatim. Like Susie Jackson. You know what you did. He said, I knew what I did. But he said you never forgave her properly. And he thought he did. So it's about cleaning yourself. You can't see the difference is between us and the rest of the world. You being us in the truth, and the person that you're talking about, I don't know if they're in the truth or not, but I'm just saying the rest of the world. All we got to do is try, because we trying to come up out of that, and we don't want to leave nothing out there. You know, that's why I say if you can't get them, just ask him for that for you. And like I say, you show that person that they might have harboring some for you to live in another state, but that'll go away. Go ahead.
So you're saying that everything is biblical, and to every scenario, there's a biblical outcome, procedure?
Yes, sir.
To where we should take necessary steps to make sure. That's like, you know, this woman is aggravating me so much, my hair started growing back. So that we call miracle growth. So I can't put her away just because.
Well, that was a bad road game.
So I can't put her away just because she aggravated me, because the scriptures immediately pop in my mind and say, better is it to dwell on a housetop than in that house with that one bride. Right. But I can't put her away because she's peeing me off, because she has not done nothing unlawfully for me to put her away.
Exactly.
So if I put her away not lawfully, when I go and join to another woman, it's fornication. When she go and join to a man, it's adultery. So the cycle continues until we come back and reconcile that to put it away properly.
Exactly. You bet. Exactly. Amen.
Thank you.
All right.
But to the letter, it has to be spoken out like that, because our people, or have I witnessed, as well as myself, used to be such stiff-necked, rebellious people that I'm gonna do what mine, myself, and what I think is a crime when you're discussing this.
That's right. That's right.
So get out yourself and don't bring that worldly mindset in here.
That's the key. That's the key. Because when it all boils down to it, we won't be there together.
It ain't about you and the beauty supply
when one of us is gone.
and your nails.
Exactly.
It's about you sitting down, being virtuous and submissive and obedient to God and the servant that he sent to you.
Tell him, Tom. Don't hold back.
You passing the mic? All right, y'all.
Excuse me, everybody in the congregation, but that was a tender topic, and I let a TT become a PP, which was a personal problem.
We got you, bro. We got your back, bro. We got your back, bro. Rather you tell us than anybody else out on the streets. Where we at? Matthew
7:20.
Yep, 7:20 and 22:23.
I think it's
That's on me.
In the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 20. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. And then will I prophesy unto them, profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
Okay, so again, he said it himself in the video. Depart from me. That's the only phrase he had to use. depart from me. And like he said, he's sitting there seeing, did y'all recognize a couple of them people in that line look like Donald Trump? Immediately when I first saw the video, I'm looking at the people in the line that they're using. I'm like, there go Trump. There go Trump. But the fact is that he saw the exact words that he called out, depart from me. We just read, but it said that in that day, these people that are saying these things to the Lord, this is what? Judgment time.
Yeah, that's right.
Did we cast out devils, Lord, in your name? Did we heal the sick in your name? Did we do all of these miracles that in your name? And he said, depart from me. That one used to take me for a loop in the beginning because until I got the understanding, it's like they're doing the right thing. No, you ain't doing the right thing. That's the reason why. So if we're not casting out devils and healing the sick, like when he told them, unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees. Mm-hmm. But these people are saying, wait a minute, Lord, we did these things. Right. We did these things in your name. And he said, depart from me.
What are you saying?
So that right there is enough to say, well, he gave me them powers, but if I have the powers of these people that are at the end saying we did these things in your name, where does that put you? Where is that gives you what this boy was doing? Seeking. We can't sit down here right now or tomorrow and say, okay, we right where we need to be tomorrow. How closer can I get to him? And they're supposed to be like steps. But you don't fall back down. But if you do, he got you, but you're still supposed to get up and start off. You don't start over from the bottom because you don't have to. We make mistakes. We mess up. But then we get going. We don't stay in that state. We don't stay where we at. We have to keep every single day constantly trying to get closer to him. Because he said it, hell ain't worth it. For this little petty stuff? Little petty stuff? Go ahead, bro.
I did a study on this one because I was kind of tripping up a little bit too, how you have the spirit. Basically, they do have the spirit, but they still got the labor. And I looked up the word iniquity. Iniquity is lawlessness. So you must serve the Elohim spirit and the truth. You know,
faith without works is dead.
Right. 1:2 says, "Thy law is truth."
Right.
So when people are having these gifts, people use gifts, and what they can do is, they put it on the same level as salvation. Gifts are not the same as salvation. Most times you use anybody.
Right. Exactly. See, look, that's the point.
Right.
He used anybody. We heard that. Did we read it that the young women, will prophesy? Like I said, she said the Lord is dealing with him in a peculiar way. That was key word right there. A peculiar people, a peculiar treasure, that is who we are. We different. And she claimed it by the term she said, he's dealing with him in a peculiar, it means it's not normal. It's different. He's dealing with him differently. But she was right there with him. Where we going now?
Got a question on it.
Okay. We gonna speed it up, so we're gonna go ahead and we'll go to Revelations 20. Then we'll go to Amos 5 and 8. Oh yeah, I gotta read this. Yeah, we gotta read this. So we're gonna go to Revelations right now. We're gonna just
You got a question over there.
where?
You got a question?
Go ahead. There's no way I can hear you from back
Can
there.
you hear you, sis?
When he said that word iniquity, the word is iniquity. It's like saying, when you talk iniquity, like you have no heart, you have no knowledge of this. You don't know. You act like you don't know.
Right. Well, the Most High called our feast days and our solemn feast days and all that what we did, he called that iniquity because we were going through the motions. And just because we know last night, oh, it's the Passover, we got to eat some lamb and some unleavened bread and this and that and this and that. And we just get together and just throw it on together. And we do it because we are told to do it and that is not in our hearts. That's why he said, all of your feast days, everything, your vain oblations that you bring before me, y'all can save that. Your heart ain't in it. So what does that do for me? My children are supposed to be obedient. They just doing this. Their hearts are not. You just going through the motions.
Right.
Just going through the motions, and that work is not the right work of faith. Without works is dead. When you put in that type of work, you ain't got no faith in the first place. So we got to keep running because there's some we got to show that he said. Revelations
chapter 20, verse 12.
Obedience over sacrifice.
Who's on?
Revelations chapter 20, verse 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yahweh, and the books were open. And another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of the things which were written in the books, according to their works.
So when he was saying that he was standing there holding his life in hand, and his own life testified against him that he could not deny nor lie to the Most High about what he would be accused of in your life. He said, my life testified against me. They won't cool no more. His life test is like the life say, nigga, you ain't getting me tossed off in there with you. He told everything that he did. So there was the separation. You can't plead even with your own life to help you out. Can you help hide some of this while you standing there? Time was up. Time was up. That's the whole thing. Time was up. He stood there. He said, "What is this going to be for me?" So let's keep rolling through here.
Verse 13. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them.
So now that they get delivered up, now it's judgment time. They are all wherever they've been. Now it's judgment time, and now the dead are coming forth. Read on.
And they were judged, every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
Okay, so that death and hell being cast into the lake of fire, and this is being the second death. The second death is the last death. So when he takes death itself and hell, the grave, there's no longer a need for them anymore. Like fire. Okay? Take death and hell. There's no more death. There's no more grave. There's no more where else to go. So we know today that hell is what? 6 feet under. And it's cold. Okay?
Oh, little cold as hell, like.
Yep. Cold as hell. Cold as hell. That's the truth.
That's another one of them sayings.
Yep, that's true.
But
Yeah,
see, you get a difference of understanding. That one may be more true than it is when you say cold as hell, because the grave is cold.
Right.
But what makes hell hot is when it gets thrown into the lake of fire,
Mm-hmm.
like he just said.
And you said,
Grave won't be thrown in there.
and see, that's why I was asking for that 7 times hotter scripture I was looking for. The point of what he said, y'all notice he said, all those who stood outside, we got burned. Okay, but in fact, if you heard him clearly, he said, they was like, hurry up and close the door. It's cold.
Yep.
It's hot. Now it's cold. Close the door because I don't know what that heat is going to be. That's fire and ice together. Fire and ice together. It was so hot, it was cold. Go ahead.
And a lot of us forget that this time's gonna be forever for that person.
Forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And he just like when how vividly he described the process that it opened. He said when they talked about that big shadow, that was the shadow of death. Right in its place where it was supposed to be. He said, I saw that big, it didn't have form, but it wasn't good.
No detail.
Yeah, it wasn't good. So let's keep this moving. We just broke it off. Let's go to,
Amos 5.
let me get Matthew 15, 10, and 11. I'll read that real quick. Matthew 15, 10, and 11. It says, and he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand. Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man. So that was the Facebook post. That was the Facebook post. It was what came out of her, the blind lady, that she posted on Facebook. I ain't judging you for what you did. It's look at what happened, the result of it. And you got them 300,000 people's blood on your hands. So it could have been turn around and look and count to 300,000 behind you, blonde haired woman. All them people in line behind you because of you. So we know we have to be careful about what we say. Okay? Now, Amos 5 and 8 now. Why is my Amos 5 and 8 not what I'm supposed to be reading?
Huh?
Amos 5 and 8.
Oh, you want 18?
Yes, sir.
18.
Yeah, one number I've been right now.
You know, it was kind of ironic when we made it to the house last night. I turned on the TV, and it just happened to be a documentary on about wrong way been wrong way, and them cutting off white folks' ears. We was like, why they playing this? You know, but I had never seen it, and it, explained a lot, and it was just crazy, man. These cats get drunk with power, man, and broaden their phylacteries, dog, before you know it. Niggas be out of control. For real.
They don't need a thorn in their side because they just going the wrong way anyway.
Yeah.
To be reminded of righteousness. Amos 5 and 18.
Amos chapter 5, verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. Y'all hear that?
Right.
Okay, now I'm going to do this since we are abbreviating the class. I'm just going to read in the 4th book of Ezra, under the state of departed. I have verses 78 through 101. What I'm going to do is search in here to get that one verse. How much time we got?
Not much.
Okay. I'm going to read this and then I'll cut it off. Now concerning death and teaching the teaching is, when the decisive decree has gone forth from the Most High that a man shall die, as the spirit leaves the body to return again to him who gave it. First of all, it adores the glory of the Most High. And if it is one of those who have shown scorn and have not kept the way of the Most High, who have despised his law, and who have hated those who fear God, such spirits shall not enter into the habitation, enter into habitation, but shall immediately. So y'all saw immediately, right? When he said it was going so fast, boom, right? Immediately. So the Father said, it says right here that, and if one of those who have shown scorn and have not kept the way of the Most High, who have despised his law and have hated those who fear God, such spirits shall not enter into the habitation, but shall immediately wander about in torments, ever grieving and sad in 7 ways. The first way, because they have scorned the law of the Most High. The second way, because they cannot make good repentance that they may live. You saw that boy standing there begging, Lord, please, please, Lord, please, please don't do this to me, right? This you can't do. There won't be no begging. Okay, so the third, they shall see the reward laid up who have trusted the covenants of the Most High. So he saw the kingdom of heaven. He saw the reward, and he also saw what goes to the people who are the righteous. So the rest of this is the flip side, showing what happens with a righteous person. Because a righteous person is going to see that same thing of, there's that lake of fire. Right. There's where you ain't going. You're going to be shown that. Okay, so this is what all in lockstep. I'm saying everything I'm hearing, I'm going right to the scripts. I know what he's talking about. So if I can prove what he's saying by the word, it's nothing but for us to take heed. We're going to try to find, I'm going to get one more script out of here. We're going to call it a class. These will all be, give me Matthew 3 and 3, because you got Mark 1 and 3, Luke 3 and 4, and John 1:23. Those are all 4 witnesses of that same thing. And we know that we saw him say John 3:16. He spoke that for real. When he spoke John 3:16, he spoke that from a perspective of as it is written, and not saying that's all you got to do. He gave us further instructions after that. So just read me this Matthew 3 and 3, and give me Mark 1 and 3, and we'll get the prayer on Psalms 23 and call it a class.
You gonna put all 5 of them on the board, or all 4 of them on the board?
I see the scriptures. I got them all.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I call them out. Who's it on?
It's on me.
Read both of them, and then
What was the other one you got?
Matthew 23 and
Mark 1 and 3.
Book of Matthew, chapter 3, verse 3. It says, "For this is he that was spoken of by the prophet Isaiah, saying, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight." That's how you want to read?
Yeah.
3 and 3?
Yeah.
All right, then that's what you said, Mark 1 and 3?
Yep.
All right, the book of Mark, chapter 1, verse 3. "The voice of one crying in the wilderness,
Mm-hmm.
prepare ye the way of the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
make his path straight."
Mm-hmm. So there's the example of him being that one voice crying in the wilderness.
That's right.
We are many voices here, but we know when we go back to our own private lives, the people that we have to deal with, the people on your job, you become who? That one voice crying in the wilderness, trying to warn your people, your family, the people you work with, the checker at the grocery store. If you get a phone call from a bill collector, put that work in. Be that one voice crying in this wilderness that we live in today. Okay? So to wrap up what I say, as Paul said, as I speak as a man, I watched this video and it just impacted me enough to further the message, because I didn't find nothing wrong with it, other than it came from a Christian sanity standpoint of view. That don't make me right. But I'm saying that message that he gave, I had to pass the baton. Go ahead, brother.
What's CLC?
The video, it's called it's posted when it's going to be on the class itself. I'll just forward it to you so you'll have it in your phone. But it's called like a man. God showed him Judgment Day. Yeah, God showed man Judgment Day. But I got you. I'll send it to you. So Psalm 23 is what we're closing out with.
My brother Jimmy.
You all right today?
All right, we're gonna get this closed in prayer. Everybody get this. We'll just close in prayer with the Most High's permission. In the name of His only begotten Son, our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the book of Psalms, the 23rd chapter.
Let's get through it.
I'll be all right.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Psalm, the 23rd chapter. The Most High is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil.
Yes.
My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Most High forever. Hallelujah!
All right, y'all, let me just say one thing. We got our second day, well, basically still we're in the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We haven't got to sundown again to be into the end. So we're going to pick it up again, y'all, with some bread. We got a little wine for the adults, but we have a meal prepared. So y'all, we're going to get that going, and y'all know how we do the order. We get our elders on through the line first. And then, y'all, as we start to wrap up, everybody get through the line and eat. Sister Barb, Emma Barb is going to do just a wellness lesson over there as well. So once you everybody get their fill, you can just walk on over. She'll be doing a wellness class over there. Y'all can answer any questions concerning any topic about prolonging this dying flesh. So y'all, with that, are y'all ready for us back there, servers? Okay, so We go ahead and get our elders through the line, and then everybody just follow suit. And look, if y'all will, don't let the short legged, the really short one, walk with juice and different things and try to track up on the floor. So that adults, their parents, just bring their juices to the table. And y'all want to say Shabbat Shalom again to our out of town guests.
Yes, sir.
Dawi Zion over there. We got Sister Ann over here. We got all our brothers and sisters that came down to fellowship with us.
You made it through, bro. Yeah, yeah. You know,
I heard you crack it up. I said, break it down a little bit.
had something on my mind. All right, something on my mind.
Hey, why would you would have been able to hit that short book of Ezra?
Yeah,
That's like the heart of it, man.
yeah, we should have got that. I thought we was going there.
We should have cut some of them out and got straight into that one. That book of Ezra. Oh, yeah. Especially when you know the truth. Because when I first heard it, that's a book. I was thinking about the book of Ezra. I'm like, bruh. Woo. And ain't no repentance in the grave.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
It's over at that
Yeah.
point.
When you gone, it's over. But ain't no talking about, I'm gonna get it right. No, ain't no getting it right.
No, that's what I'm saying. You ain't kept no feast or no nothing. It's a lot grave. Man, you ain't did nothing to them.
Yeah.
Hey, what? Hey. You know what I'm saying? That's real tough.
Yeah. Right. See, I had at first, running.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, brother. How you doing?
That's all right.
Yeah, you heard me. And they have been teaching, you know.
Enemy out there.
Yeah, soldiers. Despite everything you're going through, man, stay early. You got 2 more legs now. That's a good thing.
We don't need to know there's a box to put that outside of
we were born to it. So the day you were born, the day you started that. All we've been seeing about keep on facing that script, man, and following. They got audio. Do they have audio? Somebody showed like, where's the sound? I'm like, wow. You see that devil
all that. Yeah, I should say like that.
It's all good. We all talk each other. Don't try to say this man. Yeah.
I'm going where you want me to go.
Hurry up, something like that. That boy go. Like Judah knowledge, them look like kindergarten. They come out of here. Y'all thought that was the radio, didn't you?
That's a game away, man. Yeah.
Right. That's Three in the morning.
I want to say 75, but I ain't sure that I know it's really happening. I ain't sure
Yeah, keep doing all that. Look, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They boy, they run you, boy. They boy, they run, man. They going all the time. Right, you put out the game. Hey, relax today, bro. Relax today, bro. There you go.
The one with him and the other car in the crowd, that's in the WhatsApp. Yeah. But I deleted it, that's why I can't pull it up.